Yo, what's up, guys?
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, birds chirping, dude. You outside?
Yeah.
Got the coat on. Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice morning here. I mean, it's like, I don't know, probably 45 and sunny, but I figured, to be real, the girls are still sleeping in the house. And
Let's be honest. It's
small
actually
house,
really,
so-
really cold outside. I don't want to be out here, but I have to be.
no, it's actually beautiful. I love it.
For sure, for sure.
How you guys feeling this morning?
Not bad. Not bad.
Not getting any sound coming through.
You're not hearing anything, John? That's all right. I'm gonna introduce us real quick. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Room 145. We're just gonna be talking about some good things. Take your mind off of things bringing you down. Let's together learn how to shift that focus onto good things. And yeah, trial and error. We're gonna try some things here, see what works, see what doesn't. Join the conversation. Let us know what you think. But yeah, we're just trying to make a positive environment.
Yes. Welcome in.
Welcome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Can you hear us? Yeah. Top
Yes,
of the
now-
morning,
well-
Ray.
You guys got coffee?
Yep.
Cheers it up.
Cheers, gents.
Oh wow, you guys are both okay.
Although
Very fancy.
Oh,
Hello,
man.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Hello, Seattle.
Yeah. See, the wife went.
What'd you guys get?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Nothing fancy.
You don't even know the roast? What was that?
I don't.
It's
Jesus.
a bean.
Yeah, it's
They-
you can
and
taste
they
the
filter
vanilla
caffeine
bean.
through it.
Oh,
Blonde?
apparently it's a
Okay.
blonde.
Okay. More
You can-
caffeine.
You can.
I think that's what mine is too.
You can taste the vanilla bean. You hate the coffee. I hate the coffee. Good one. Yeah. No, I don't know. Anything over a standard coffee from this here establishment's like not justifiable to my wallet. I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah, they get crazy expensive, man.
Yeah. It's not like
I mean,
you
even
know,
if you get just like a regular latte, it's like $6 now.
right. Which it's like
It's
okay,
insane.
it's $6. It's not like I don't have $6, but it's like I'm not willing to spend it on that. You know?
But have you ever bought a bag of coffee? You get a lot of coffee, and that's
Yeah,
like
for sure.
what, $10 at the
Right.
most,
Right.
maybe
Dude,
12.
unless you go to Costco, get that Kirkland. You spend like 13.
Get, like,
Dude, you
for a
get you
10
go
pound
home with
bag.
a drum of ground coffee.
No, have some respect for your body and for the product. Get you can, like Alex said, you can get a nice bag of organic coffee,
Yeah.
one way or the other. Yeah, you get
That
a week or so
probably
of coffee for $10.
won't be
but-
ground up cockroaches.
Right.
Because how would you know? How would you know if half of it is cockroaches?
There's I forget the name of the
with
coffee,
Kirkland,
but
I don't know if you would.
right, yeah, you wouldn't. Although, you know what? Costco products are good. Not to
They are.
You know, especially that denim, dude. Kirkland denim. You don't even. You want some attention
You
from
just-
the opposite sex, dude. You just throw on some Kirkland denim and you're good to go. There you go.
Stand up on
Ray's
their
got
own.
it.
Golly.
They stand
sign
up
up.
on their own, dude.
You just whip them out, and then you just jump into them.
Oh Jesus, dude.
Just sign up for the Kirkland plan when you walk in. They give you a denim jacket, a thing of coffee.
That's it. That's it. Man,
Badge.
there's a coffee that it like supports elephant. What's the word I'm looking for?
Supports
like a,
elephants.
like a
All
preserva-
dollars
Habitats?
go right into the
Oh,
jar for
preservation.
elephants.
Yeah.
Right. It's actually coffee that they get from elephants. No, it's
Like they pick it themselves? Wow.
yeah, it's
That's-
it's
Yeah, West
supporting
West Rock.
elephant laborers.
Wow. That
yeah.
almost seems racist.
All right. Well, whatever. Elephant
Speciest.
Yes, you're a speciest.
Speciest. Yeah.
Elephant.
Start the day off with
Preservation.
speciesism.
I can't think of the word.
Isn't it? Is it called West Rock? It's got an elephant on the front.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
don't know.
it'd be weird if it didn't have an elephant on
It-
the front. I
it would
guess.
be.
Yeah. No, it's just a toucan. It's actually
But-
just Fruit Loops.
Right.
Dude,
All-
that's my
All
coffee.
Fruit Loop proceeds
My coffee
go
is
right to
Fruit
elephants.
Loops.
Yeah.
100%.
Keep
That's
the circus
disgusting.
alive. You know.
Jesus, dude.
Wow, starting off strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The circus. Don't go to the circus, guys. At
I
least
mean, who
don't go
employs
to
more
a
elephants than the circus? The circus, you know.
employs more
Employs a
elephants.
wild animal.
Right.
Well, that's
Because
the animal just can't appreciate, you know, all the things that are being done for it.
they just can't accept a paycheck because they can't sign anything because they're animals.
Hey, I've seen
Although,
I've
I
seen
was
an
gonna-
elephant paint.
I was gonna say, if there's one animal that can sign something, it's an elephant, dude.
Yeah,
They're
xenomorph
That's actually
with-
probably that and like chimpanzees.
Yeah.
Yeah, xenomorph with the coyotes comment.
What's up with
We have coyotes. We have coyotes right around us.
Oh, you gotta watch your pup.
That's the whole So she's been
Yeah.
freaking out.
Get the old shotgun. Honing down the yard there.
A shotgun for a coyote.
Jesus.
Just in the middle of your neighborhood.
Firing off rounds at the neighbors' chickens and stuff.
You go to pick your mail up out with the shotgun over your shoulder.
You
John
got it
goes-
draped over.
You know how
John-
it goes. We got the coyotes. You know.
John goes duck hunting in his neighbor's yard.
Shirtless.
His
just-
neighbor has ducks and chickens for eggs, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so the neighbor saw a coyote pull one of their chickens just middle of the day. Just
Ooh.
ran up, snatched it. So
Oh, yeah. Xenomorph said there are no longer chickens. Yikes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, where we got Murdoch and Bagheera, the breeder there, they were out on a farm. So they've got coyotes and stuff that would give them problems. And every time they had a litter of pups, all the yelping and noise obviously is like, oh, well, it's a dinner bell for predators out there. So
Right.
whenever they had a litter of pups, they would always keep two of their dogs. They would rotate them in shifts, basically. They'd keep two of their dogs loose on the farm. And that was,
I do not.
No. You don't want any
I don't
of that.
ever want to even think about one of your dogs
Going
fighting
after a coyote.
No,
No, it's
that
not.
poor thing. No.
That's
a lot of blood.
disgusting.
A lot of blood and fur.
The great thing is they never have to encounter it because the coyote is going to be like, oh, nah, never mind.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
Well, that's
good.
what I was telling Jacqueline. I was
Right.
like, just be the alpha out there, you know? Stand out there, shoulders wide. Coyote's never going to even approach you.
Jacqueline's
They're
5 foot
persistent,
nothing.
Right, just come at me.
Yeah, but she's out there in my giant sweatpants and a sweatshirt. So she looks, you know, at minimum, she's obese. You know, that's what she's at least.
Get her out
Very-
there with a snare drum. Just be
There you go.
really loud.
Very
Yeah.
menacing.
That's what I said. I said, you know, if you hear them close, make a noise, they'll freak out. They're not a very courageous animal.
No. Opportunists.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the word I used. I literally said opportunist.
right.
what they
Well,
are.
pretty much anything in nature is going to take the path
we
of
go.
least resistance. So,
Yeah.
you know.
that is
That's
true.
why elephants in the circus.
Oh my God! They tell her to send the tree glowworms at him.
Oh no.
Oh man!
Coming at her
History.
hard. in the
Yeah,
morning.
shots fired. You know, it's 8:30.
Does Alex
Wait, what
not
is-
know that story?
Probably.
What is
not. Probably.
Here we go.
Okay,
So-
okay, here we go.
So, one day, it was Christmas time. All right, we pull into the driveway,
Yeah.
and we see all these red and green lights in the neighbor's trees. All right, and it's beautiful. It's something I've never seen before. And she's freaking out. She's like, you know, what is this? Are these glowworms?
Wait, Jacqueline said that?
Yeah, she like got in her head that these were glowworms, and I was like, I don't know what they are, but let's not. She was like, we need to call people. We need to call National Geographic. We need to do all this. I'm not kidding.
All right, on the screen, I'm putting some glowworms so people can see what glowworms actually look like.
Okay.
so-
Okay.
She was like, we got to call National Geographic. She called her Uncle Ron and started telling, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah. And he's like, aren't glowworms in like South America or something like that? And
Not
so-
Michigan.
So, and I said over and over, I was like, I don't know. We'll talk about it in the morning. All right.
Now, step one
Then, like
is
I said,
National
she makes
Geographic.
calls, she does all this, Yeah, global warming brought him to Michigan. So
The Great Migration
We,
of glowworms.
we basically come to find out that it was the neighbor's Christmas strobe lights from the front yard hitting the back trees
Yeah.
and not glowworms. But
Like
at
those
that
little
point,
laser lights.
yes, and it was
Yeah.
going over the house, hitting the top of their trees in the back. And because, yeah, they were shifting colors, and she was like, I've never seen anything like this. And here we go. It was
Hilarious. Dude,
Christmas
so
lights.
on glowworms, anybody that is looking at the stream right now, you can see some pictures of them. It actually is amazing. I have seen them in person when Aaron and I, so my cousin and I, went scuba diving. We went to the cenotes in in Mexico. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull up.
Thank you. She said, yes, they are magical.
All right, so
That's algae.
Algae.
no, this is so there's areas of the cenotes which are underwater caves.
Yeah.
Or underground caves, essentially, not underwater caves, although they are underwater as well. And there are pockets that, as you're going through them, it's just like full limestone domes, and there's these glowing. They look like glowing threads hanging from the ceilings, and
Wow.
it's really damn. None of these pictures are really doing it. This one
So
you
what-
can kind of see it, but.
So
Whatever.
what part is the worm?
The worms are
The whole, it's a very large worm. You ever seen Tremors?
Yeah. Oh, they're like
Mhm.
that. They're like a bus.
Yeah. The whole thing, right?
yeah.
The
No, they're
whole-
actually
It's an
really,
Alaskan bullworm.
they're actually really small. Again, if you look at the stream, there's some pictures of them you can see.
Yeah, what's up with the dolls?
I don't know why they keep coming up. These apparently glowworm
glowworms.
dolls
Yeah,
are
okay.
a thing.
They're not
Yeah.
very expensive though. You might want to pick one up.
Yeah.
Is that $99?
For a worm doll.
Starbucks
Oh
must
my
make
God.
it.
Oh no.
So yeah, whatever. There's your nature lesson, viewers. We lost some viewers
Yeah,
during
you're
that.
welcome.
Yeah, they were like, well, okay.
Like questions from the
Tremors,
future,
cenotes.
glowworms.
Yep,
Glowworms
12
are
minutes
from
in
the
and you
future.
already got an education.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
you're welcome. Happy Sunday.
Yeah.
That's what? No, it's not. Glowworms. What the hell's Ray talking about?
That looks like a bug. It looks like a flea.
Yeah, they're not attractive, but you know what bugs are.
I was just gonna say, can you pull up a picture of an attractive bug?
Challenge
I mean, the
accepted.
mantis is slender, and it's sleek. But
There
are you
you
gonna
go,
say
dude.
the butterfly?
That's
Think
it.
Butterflies up
We don't
close,
need to know
though?
about your
No,
praying mantis fetish, dude.
No,
It's
dude.
okay.
Go close on this butterfly. That Australian butterfly sanctuary. It's yellow, blue. No one wants to look at a butterfly up close. The wings are pretty, sure, but
Oh yeah, they're
it's just a flying worm with
Yeah.
antennas.
You ever seen a Luna moth?
that's true.
You ever seen one of those Luna moth
Oh yeah,
things?
dude.
Yeah, I have one.
Those are really what you have one. What do you mean you
No,
have one?
Obviously, I don't have one.
John's a moth breeder.
That'd actually be really.
It's a secret.
I think
hobby.
those are cool animals.
Yeah.
It's Mothra.
It is Mothra.
Bring back Mothra.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
but
an
I mean,
interesting face of an animal.
attractive, definitely not.
Well, it depends on what you mean by
we
attracted.
have another suggestion.
Obviously, you're not sexually attracted to a moth.
Jesus. We are gonna derail the elephant.
I think
moth.
we're already there.
I was like,
Yo, those things are big. Look at that thing.
Jeez,
The elephant moth.
it's like a bird.
Oh, they're
like
disgusting
a-
creatures as caterpillars. Look at that thing.
see, that's what
Yo,
I'm
that's
talking about.
Caterpie
Dude,
Mhm.
It's a fucking weedle.
or Weedle. Yeah.
All right,
Damn,
I have
that's
to
true,
I have
that's
to air a little bit of grievance on Pokemon since you bring it up. We started watching Pokemon Journeys or whatever it is on Netflix with Iris, and
Yeah.
it's like episode 5 or whatever when they go out finally and they're gonna start catching Pokemon. This dude that Ash is with, his name's Go or something like that.
Oh yeah.
He goes out and catches like 19 Pokemon in 5 minutes with doing 0 battling. He just a single throw Pokeball. He catches a Pinsir, a Scyther, a Venomoth, a Butterfree, all with
No
no
way.
battling involved. Just a single throw of a ball and he catches them. I'm like, all right,
He's a master ball thrower, though.
dude, what is this?
You
What
gotta
is
respect the hustle.
this?
Not every man in the Pokemon world is built the same. Maybe his throw, maybe his technique is flawless.
You got that curveball.
Yeah, throws a knuckleball or whatever at it.
Right.
Man. His goal is
That's
to catch
right,
one
his
of
goals-
each. How else?
Exactly.
And I don't know. It was I was like, damn, these everything's easy, huh?
Jordan's like, damn, 2021 can't
Right.
even have
Can't even
normal
have difficult
Pokemon.
Pokemon throwing. It's just unreal. It's so unrealistic. like all of Pokemon isn't already so.
That's not how this actually works.
Right.
Back in my
Like,
day.
Rules were established in 1999, and since then it's become like fact. Like you have
Right.
to stick to that.
That's
You have to stick to this fake
Dude,
reality.
it's the 25th anniversary of Pokemon this year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's McDonald's was selling like the Pokemon cards again, and of course, people our age were just going there and buying Happy Meals, like hundreds of them, just to get the cards.
So we've done one because Ariel do a Happy Meal every now and again, and
Yeah,
the holographic card she got in there was actually of the Pokemon she picked at the start of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So it
really?
worked out
Awesome.
really
That's-
perfectly.
Hey,
that's
Yeah.
really cool.
who did she start with?
The water one. I don't remember its
Okay.
name.
I don't know their names either, but all I know,
I'm
I
gonna
do know
find
the
out.
one that I would have picked if I played the game would be Grookey all day. The Grass Monkey?
Hey,
Yeah.
sweet look.
No, he's by far the best. Don't tell Arya that.
I tried to get her to take, but she doesn't. She's got her own style. She
Oh,
never
100%. No, that girl
never
doesn't need
listened
help.
to me.
She's not
Nope,
asking
she
for
never-
advice.
Because at one point you get to pick between Squirtle and Bulbasaur, and I'm like, finally, we're gonna get a Bulbasaur, and she just went full Squirtle. I was like, okay.
I mean,
guess I'm not here.
Squirtle's still pretty cool.
When I was young though, I went water types all day. That was my thing. Blastoise was my shit. But
She started off as water, even her entire clothing and whatnot. She made water, blue, and all that stuff. She's now got a full legendary team. So
Was
man.
I the only one that started with Charmander?
No,
I did back
John
in
was
the
a
day.
fire.
Oh, did you?
all
Okay.
day, yeah.
Yeah.
Sobble. That's
yeah,
the
Sobble.
Pokemon's name. Sobble.
Yeah.
So
Right on. Cool.
Definitely
no,
derailed.
no
right.
skill. It was disappointing. It bothered Ray too. Like,
Right.
you guys are both sitting there just
Dude,
pissed
we're
off.
pissed, man. Just sitting there angry watching Pokemon now. Just kidding.
Back in my day, we had to spend 13 hours on Pokemon Stadium.
Well, your main grievance should be that. I mean, how do you get all those Pokeballs? Like, where's your money?
I know, right? You don't start out
That
with money. Dude,
That
No.
would be the problem.
man.
Yeah.
See, Go is a rich. Go is
He is a rich kid, though. You're right.
exactly.
Oh, he's the most
He's
degenerate ever.
You're cutting out. Your audio cut out a little bit there, Alex. He's a what?
He's like the generation behind millennials, the ones that like their dads just give them cars and shit.
Gen Z,
Like,
I
he's-
think it
he's-
is, or whatever.
Is that like the Instagram generation?
Yeah,
Is that what
TikTok.
So he's basically just one of the kids in the Cincinnati Design School with their $3,000 MacBook Pro that their parents bought
Yep.
them. That's what that is.
Right.
We all have different starting points, and
Right.
if you start off really far ahead, you can't appreciate anything, right? So that's not necessarily their fault.
That's
that they're broken
absolutely
people.
true.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not their fault, but bitter.
Bitter.
Right.
Sure, it's like, oh well. Okay.
No, there's no history
He's
there.
bringing his desktop in that he built when he was 15 or something. Like,
Carrying a desktop into class.
yeah, sorry, it takes a minute and a half
I had to
to
sit in the
boot up.
back corner near a power outlet to plug everything in with my power strip.
Right.
That is awesome.
Dude, could you imagine? That's
Go
a
15 minutes early, you brought your monitor in. You're like,
oh, man,
Right.
dude.
big old
That's-
box.
Bring your own chair. You bring your
Right.
office chair in.
Good lord.
Sorry.
Hold
it's
on,
what I'm
guys. I
used
just got to
to,
set up.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to
Like you
beat
said,
a
LAN
class.
party.
That's it, dude. That way I could game between classes at least.
That's kind of fun.
For sure.
You want to get us on topic there?
Sure. Well, but I guess before we hit the old topic, anything happened?
The old
hit the old topic. Anything happening?
Dusty Trail.
In your, what?
You never heard that?
No.
Time to hit the old Dusty Trail.
Oh.
That's like a thing, isn't it?
That's nice. It was
Well,
nice.
you are in the South, so you tell us. I don't know.
I guess it is a thing down here. Whatever.
Anything new, exciting, fun, worthwhile to share from your guys' week?
I quit my job.
Why'd you say it like that? You said it so sad.
He said with great relish.
No, I mean, I felt great even saying it again. Every time I say it or feel it. No, quit the job, walked out,
Good
sat
for
in the
you,
car
man.
for a second, screamed as loud as I could, and drove off and played my favorite song. So it was a nice.
I think
nice
that's the most dad thing you've ever said. Sat in your car alone and screamed as loud as you can.
So that is actually how every single movie with like a dad that's going through a crisis starts. The trailer,
Yeah. Just grab the steering wheel.
Every single one of them does that. Well, I'm part of a great tradition now. So
Part of the elite.
That's
Steve
right,
Carell
right.
has done that in a movie, So
Matthew Perry does it in The Whole Nine Yards for an entirely different type of reason, but
True.
still glorious.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm right up there on the Mount Rushmore of
Of dads beating up steering wheels in Rejoice.
right.
Nice. Yeah, congrats on the new job.
That's awesome,
It
man.
should be a nice mental health improvement for you.
Oh yeah, and I get a full reset because I will be going to training in Dayton, so staying in a hotel, and I will be. Yep, I'm gonna go full on fasting, meditation, taking a notebook, reading, and taking a Game Boy with Pokemon Red.
Awesome.
So you mean a reset? You're like redoing a couple decades real quick.
Yeah, like going back to your childhood.
Yeah, that's great. Nice. So how
Gotta
long you?
I gotta eliminate the negativity that I'm still carrying from that last one.
Dude, yeah, gotta wash that away for sure.
Yeah,
What's the?
because I don't have that much of a break either, so it's gonna be hard to like jump right back in and not walk in and go, corporate America.
You're still in that mindset. Yeah. Got to give the new place their fair shake for sure.
Yeah.
So the new place is actually sending you to training? That's crazy.
Yes. Oh, I know.
It's almost like how a company should operate.
Right.
Isn't it? It's perfect. It's just a perfect 1-to-1 for my complaints. The last one, they wouldn't even train me at my last job, and here, they're willing to send me off and
Immediately.
Right. They wouldn't train you when you asked at the old job.
Exactly.
When you requested training.
When are we gonna train so I don't kill myself with this thing?
Right. Oh no. We can't be bothered.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
So how long?
That's not part of your pay.
How long you got to be in Dayton for?
I'll be there till Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So then I go to the hospital to train on Friday, and then I think there's one more week of training in the hospital after that.
Right on.
Sweet.
Yep. So I even I might be getting lunch with the CEO as well on Monday. So
Wow.
we'll see.
Nice.
Do they do that with all their employees, or is that just like
No,
a
it's just
one-off?
me. I did such a good job during the interview.
Just John. It's the first time.
I mean, I didn't know.
First time. Groundbreaking. He's actually going to interview me for his job.
Fantastic.
We can't not be sarcastic. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah. Can't not.
Right. What a great moment for you. Nice reset. Oh, way to go.
Right.
Oh,
John's big opportunity.
Yep. Go and get him, sport.
Right. Nope, that was me.
Awesome.
What about you, Jay?
Man, nothing really overly exciting. That's popping out. It's just been busy. I feel like sleep's been getting messed up with Iris lately. I don't know if she's hitting some sort of. Every time I feel like a baby hits either a mental developmental wave or period or whatever, causes some issue with their sleeping. You know, when they learn a new skill or new behavior that they can do, they want to just do it when you put them in their crib, so they just stay awake.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just been waking up like last night was better, but for the rest of the week, she's been waking up almost hourly, and some of the time she'll be up for an hour or two of us trying to get her back to sleep. And I get off work at 1 a.m. and then she'll be waking up and she'll be up for 2 hours, and then Ray goes to work the next morning leaves at 6 a.m. So it's like, all right, well, I got no sleep and let's have Iris all day, but whatever. It's cool though. She's pretty much.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's good. I mean, dude, I tell you though, it becomes very obvious why sleep deprivation is used for torture.
Oh yeah,
it's for sure.
You kind of you definitely start to lose your mind. All I can picture is her getting
very
up,
quickly,
makes a drink, goes to bed. That's the skill I gave her.
Well, that's why I have no sympathy. Like, even when you're talking, it's like, oh, that sounds cool. My daughter didn't sleep through the night one time until she was 18 months old. So
yes, yeah, no, I definitely can't. I don't complain about. I know Ray and I have been fortunate with Iris's sleep overall. It's mostly just been intermittent stuff, but on the normal, she's a good sleeper, so it's great. But yeah, she's pretty much crawling at this point. It's clumsy, but she has figured out forward trajectory. It's just like hop up on the knees, a couple pedals with the feet, fall forward, repeat. So she knows how to move forward.
You write that on a whiteboard in front of her.
Right.
Now just skip the falling part.
Yeah, right.
Put them together.
She doesn't get the hands and the feet and the knees together yet, but she does. She's pivoting. And she can basically get to anywhere in the room now. So our house is shrinking by the minute. That's
pivot.
That's for sure. Pivot. It's hard, and pandemic. Yeah, well, that's for sure. The pandemic it's been an interesting thing doing it with no help, which I know John and Jacqueline know all about as well. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it's good. Work's busy. Nothing really new happened this week.
Lessons from the future, wrap it up, people,
Right.
Like if you're not ready for a kid and you
come on, Jordan.
Take proper precautions there.
I'm working on 2 guitar solos right now, though, that are totally almost opposite in nature. Well, not really. They're both kind of blues inspired, but currently working
not
on
opposite at all.
Well,
right.
You tell me, because I know the bones of them. So you tell me the AC/DC Back in Black and Ozzy with Zakk Wylde, No More Tears.
Yeah, I'd say those are in the same artery.
Artery? Like going to the heart?
Yeah, like you said something in the same vein or same. Yeah, it's the same artery. Yeah.
Oh wow! Excuse me.
Wow. I think we're gonna call it today, guys. I think that's the end.
You've never heard that? Oh, come on, whatever.
Same artery. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought you were saying like artistic artery, like that was some new word to say something's artsy. I'd say it's very artery.
No, then I would leave. Then you could kick me off.
Yeah. Oh, I would just.
No, I would fly to North Carolina and beat
kick my ass.
Yeah, so working on those. Back in Black is much easier.
Yes, very simple.
I always picture the solo from No More Tears as there's a spotlight every time. I can't picture that solo without a spotlight, and he's just sitting there in the darkness with the light, and it's just him.
Except when you watch Zakk actually play it, because he's a fucking
it doesn't match him at all.
No,
he runs around the room.
Yeah, he's a goddamn Viking.
No, that elegance and artistry.
The artery of the scene. Yeah, right. For sure. What about you, Alex? Any
Artery Hall from now on?
Oh my God.
Welcome.
Been working on some stuff on my synthesizer. I'm gonna start recording a couple things here. Start messing with it on some recording equipment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. He's gonna be one of those guys like, oh well, I'm self-taught. He goes on American Idol, and they're like,
right.
wow, he's a genius.
has like a back catalog of like 30 albums, like 120 hours.
No,
Nobody's ever heard
This
of them.
is
That's-
track number 4 of 328.
Right.
That's what Alex feels in his head about himself, but really everybody listening, it's just Ross from Friends, if anybody's seen that.
With like TV static behind it.
Car crash noises and fart sounds and stuff.
Yeah. So that I've been working on that this week, along with just studying and working as usual.
Premium Artery. There's your name.
Man.
Apex Artery.
Hey, I kind of like that.
Wow. There you go.
You would like it.
Apex Artery.
I'll take a nickel every time it's said from now on.
in the,
Royalties.
the same death metal font that every death metal band
Dude.
uses.
Took the words right out of my mouth. That's
Yeah.
like my favorite. Because
Yeah.
you can't tell
even
what
read
it
it.
says.
No, it's just a thorn
You can
bush.
never read it.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
It is. It's like the shape of a diamond. It is just a thorn bush. It's like the
Yeah.
pricker bush.
Right. So good.
Gosh, it's because I go to this website called Angry Metal Guy, .com, and they do obviously metal album reviews, and it's presented in kind of a scrolling down fashion, and if they do a bunch of death metals in a row, they're indistinguishable. It looks like
It's
the
just
same
different
band,
colors.
different art maybe, and there you go.
Dude,
Thorn bushes. Exactly.
Angry Metal Guy has a catalog. Jeez.
No, it's incredible.
He
It's
has-
the go.
I just went to his page. It's kind of set up. It looks like a blog. He has an well, whatever. I'll put it on screen real quick.
Yeah, let me see.
It's an organization essentially. There's a bunch of people that review. They do album of the years, and no, it's incredible. It's where I get most of my metal recommendations.
Yeah. So this place, it's kind of like a blog, right?
Yeah.
Picture of the album.
It's almost like Pitchfork.
Yes, but ready for this? Look how many pages.
Holy.
Yeah, and look,
684?
684.
To the right, they give you the album, their top couple albums per month as well.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really awesome. I should definitely hold on. I'm gonna book this.
That's where I
now.
found all my metal albums, Jordan, over the last couple of years. And this website right here.
Dude, Angry Metal Guy. I'm gonna.
Their writers are good. Their reviews are interesting to listen to, and each of the reviews has obviously a sample track on there. So if you click on an artist and you're curious on what they sound like, you never heard of them, you can pop a song off right there. And most of them are nays for me because I don't get down with the growling vocals. But
Right. Cool.
yeah, it's a great website. Super intuitive. There's nothing goofy about it. He's even got the rating system they've got the rating system right there.
A 0.5 is unlistenable.
I have to hear
One
it.
is embarrassing.
And 5 is iconic. All right, so from unlistenable to iconic. That's
Yeah,
great.
so
Dude, they
anyone
have some
watching
They have
or
some
listening,
really good titles here.
yes, if you're interested in rock music at all, give this website your attention because it's
Nice.
fantastic.
Cool.
Dude, page 2, that Culted album. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check him out. He's got good
Yep.
taste.
And like I said, they do album of the years. Each of the people that do the reviews there, so you're gonna get 10 plus versions of what the album of the year, and they do like a top 10. So you'll get 10 top 10s. So then you can really start to bring together anything you want to listen to really easily.
That's awesome.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, look at this. Music education. We got
Sexy
natural
insects,
education.
dude.
We got elephants, coffee.
Right.
Did you say sexy insects?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We're covering
Elephant
ground.
employment.
Right. We're covering
Yeah.
ground.
Elephant. Yeah, we should name this one Elephant Employment.
We invented
Yeah.
a new word of artery.
Real quick, I'm just gonna grab a coffee real quick, and then we can jump off.
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Hey Jay, is
Your audio just cut out. What?
it like clipping or anything?
Yeah, you're cutting out. I can't hear you.
Oh shit. I think it's this internet here.
Yeah, it's probably just. I'm assuming since you're outside, you're on Wi-Fi. It's just the nature of Wi-Fi. Quick, call your
Yeah.
internet provider and bitch at them.
Right now on stream.
That's a joke, anybody listening. If you have
Yeah, don't
internet
do that.
problems at home, 9.9 times out of 10, it's not the provider's problem.
Just reset your router.
Listen, I was not prepared for an 8:30 start time. All right, start over real quick. So we covered moths, glowworms. Now, sorry, Robbie Cuba.
Elephants.
We had to. We started a little early this week, just due to
Is mine starting over real quick?
yeah,
Yeah, just go back an hour. or a
some
half hour.
troubled
Love it.
sleep, but whatever. We're gonna be moving on. Robbie Cuba, that link in the chat there, and what we're looking at on screen. If you have any, if you want to compile and look through some metal music, sounds like this is the resource. So
That's what I use. It's fantastic. So
cool.
Give it a shot.
All right.
Another thing I did this week before you jump off is I started reading this book.
What is it?
You see that? Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Yeah.
Oh,
not
pretty good.
My general type of read. It doesn't even look like it belongs on my bookshelf, but just finished off this one last. What's that?
Oh yeah.
Breath by James Nestor, and at the end, there's a whole catalog of breathing techniques with a point-by-point way to do them.
That's the one you've sent us, Alex and I, some pictures
Yes,
of the
a bunch
pages, right?
Yeah.
Passages from, yeah. So, yeah, started Green Lights, and actually that's what prompted me to kind of think of this topic for this week. This, if you could tell yourself, something when you were younger, what would you do? And Lessons from the Future was the title that occurred to me for that as well. So McConaughey's the inspiration.
Nice.
So bouncing off that, what'd you come up with? What would you tell yourself?
Oh, jumping right in.
Yep.
Okay.
2 minutes, go.
Well, a bunch of things. Yeah,
Got
bunch of things, obviously, but I think I'll start with one, and we can go from there. Is the biggest takeaway, biggest thing I would tell myself is that adults don't know anything. So if I was talking to my teenage self, my even younger self, I would say to trust yourself, and the adults don't have the answers. So a theme in this book it's not necessarily a theme as much as it's something that's made me think about is this world kind of assumes or pretends to go about its day by day in a way that assumes that everyone's doing things wrong or that there are right answers to everything, right? Politically, socially, and you're told to kind of live in this specific box, and if you're not doing that, then you're wrong or amoral or anything like that. And his parents, I would say, in their parenting style and his upbringing, is not something that would fly today whatsoever.
Yeah.
There's stories of rites of passages where his dad and his elder brother essentially fought, and his eldest brother thought he killed his own father. He knocked him unconscious with a 4x4 or what have you, and his father was unconscious for 4.5 minutes.
Holy cow.
Gotta say,
And
didn't see it going that direction.
yeah, so his dad's like 6'5" or 6'6", 265 or something.
Jesus.
Like that. Yes, and he played in the NFL and he did ballet and stuff like that. But he's selling pipe essentially, and he gets his son a job selling pipe. But then his son lands like the biggest contract, right, for this guy. And so his dad one night's like, "Hey, we're going to go steal some pipe like we used to. They're going to go steal some pipe and sell it as their own."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, I'll be there at sundown, Pop." And he was like, who we going after? And his dad wants to go for the dude that his son just landed the contract for.
Oh my gosh.
No.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, it is. That is.
So the son pushes back. He's like, "No, I'm not. I can't do that." And his dad's essentially like, "Oh, so this is the day, huh? Where's your loyalty lie? Is it with me or is it with this guy?" Takes his shirt off and he's like, "All right, is it today the day you become a man?" And he just clocks his son across the face with a right hook and drops him. Yeah, and so then he's on the ground and he grabs this piece of wood, hits him in the face with it. His ear starts bleeding, but the guy's still standing. And he's like, "Oh, is that all you got?" And he hits him again with the left or something like that.
Dude,
drops
full
him.
blown Tommy boy.
Yes. He's on the ground. And he grabs the gravel and throws it in his dad's eyes and like blinds him. And he's like following the sound of his voice and can't quite catch him. And he's like, "Dad, I don't want to do this. I don't want to hit you." But he's got the wood again. He's like, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to fight you." And he's like, "If you come closer, if you come at me again, I'm gonna knock you out with this piece of wood." And his dad charges him and says, "Give it your best shot."
Holy shit!
And he knocks his dad out with this 4x4 or whatever it is. And yeah, he's sobbing. He thought he killed his dad. He was unconscious for 4.5 minutes.
That's a long time to be unconscious, dude.
Yes,
it is.
You've seen some wicked KOs in combat sports, and nobody's out that long.
And they're out for like what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
There's been a couple, minutes or like
right.
Bisping was out for a while when Dan Henderson.
Well,
him, but
he took his soul out with that one. Yeah.
So he wakes up.
Jaw.
He comes to, and they're crying together, and they hug, and his dad goes, "That's my boy. Now that's my boy." Yeah. Yes. And McConaughey goes to say that from that point on, his dad viewed his eldest brother as an equal, and they were best friends.
Yeah, I don't think that'd fly today.
No. Dan Anderson went to the Olympics.
Hey, dude, for wrestling, I think.
How many times? Was it 2? 2 times?
Wow. So I'm going to go ahead and just right now not recommend that parenting style, but wow.
No, so there's stuff like that throughout his childhood. And there's another one just illuminating story is the kids. So he's got 2 brothers. He's the youngest. And his parents are twice divorced or whatever, 3 times married, but to each other. Okay. And his dad comes home from work, sits at the dinner table. Mom hands him his reheated plate of food. And McConaughey writes, "At this point, my 6 foot whatever dad, 260 pounds, was sagging or not sitting in a way that was pleasant to my mother," or whatever. That's how he worded it.
Wow.
So he's sitting down to eat, and he's like, "I would like some more potatoes." And she said, "Well, you sure you want some more potatoes, fat man?"
Damn.
Yeah. And McConaughey says his dad sat there and just was quiet. And she grabs the potatoes, these mashed potatoes, and just starts slamming them on the plate like, "Here's your potatoes, fat man." Doing it over and over, right? You could picture this in your head.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, and at one point, one of the comments, it was his breaking point, and he flipped the whole table to like the ceiling. And he was like, and then it was on. His mom ran to the telephone to dial 911, ends up smacking it across his face and breaks his nose with the telephone.
Jesus.
Grabs a butcher knife, and she's like, "Bring it on, fat man." she's going in at that point still. And the dad, McConaughey says his dad grabs a ketchup bottle and is like wielding it to fight with the ketchup bottle. And she like swings at him or whatever, and he's like going touche and squirting her with the ketchup, like as she misses. Yeah,
it's literally a movie. I feel like this was just a script.
Right? This fight is happening, and at one point they run out of energy, and they lower their guards. Mom drops the knife, dad drops the ketchup bottle,
and they just start having sex in the kitchen right there.
They embrace and then they have sex on their own blood.
It's a movie. It's a movie. This isn't real.
That is 100% a movie.
So McConaughey presents that story, and he was like, this is how my parents communicated. This is how they loved each other. But at no point when you're reading that and you're going through the way he's thinking about it, at no point you're going, "Well, this is wrong." It's just like, yeah, this is a totally different, this is a human thing.
Right.
You know, this relationship exists in more than one spot, and
Yeah.
the kids don't have any sort of ill will, even though they fought their father on some occasions.
Almost killed him.
Literally fist fought him. And there's this level of violence and all this stuff, but it's not like that stuff doesn't happen now, right?
Right.
It's just that individuality and that letting people go about their lives and their decisions in a way that they see fit, especially with their own kids, doesn't exist anymore. So if McConaughey, as a kid growing up today, would think that his parents were pieces of garbage, maybe, you know, but he didn't think that then and doesn't think that now, right? So all of his brother, the one that fought his dad as a rite of passage, was a multimillionaire in his mid-20s. His middle brother was like his hero. It taught him how to do everything. And obviously Matthew McConaughey is an incredibly successful individual with that parenting structure, you know.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of, you know, very conservative, you know, structured rule sets and whatnot. Lying, they didn't care if you stole stuff or what have you, but if you got caught, that's a problem. One, getting caught was a problem. But if you got caught and then you lied about it, it was fighting time. Like McConaughey details his rite of passage, but he failed it the first time. He basically, him and his friends stole a pizza.
Ooh.
And he gets a call. Yeah, he gets a call from the other person's parent or what have you. And he's like, his dad's just on the phone. He's like, "Did you get some pizza tonight?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, well, did you pay for it?" And McConaughey knows he's lying, and he says, "I think my friend came out after I did, and I think he paid for it." And his dad is just like silent.
Oh.
And he's on the phone with the sheriff, and he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna handle this." And then he like hangs up. He stands up and he asks the question again or whatever. McConaughey, you know, starts crying at this point and now admits he's lying, and his dad just backhands him.
Damn.
Knocks him down. But at that point, he's not saying, "Oh, I was abused." He's saying, "I failed."
Yeah.
Like,
punished for it.
Yeah, I deserved. That's what he says. He's like, "I earned this."
Yeah.
And I wanted it. That's what he said. Like,
on the stream right now, that's McConaughey's face when his dad hangs up the phone with the sheriff and says, "I'm gonna handle it."
For sure. No, but
that's feeling right there.
It comes off the page every time. At no point are you thinking he doesn't ever feel sorry for himself. He wouldn't have wanted any other way. I mean, these people they created him, right? And the structure that they provided, he says right on there, just like you said, he's like, "I wouldn't recommend, you know, hitting your children or whatever, but I know there are some things that I did not do because I was scared of that. And there are some things that I did do because I was scared of that."
Right.
So there are other ways to scare your kids.
Yes, I'm obviously, but I'm saying like the modern
that's kind of last resort.
The modern world doesn't give there's a lot more demonization and
still not on board. Xenomorph, what if you could beat your kid into being Matthew McConaughey? Hey, the Jacksons.
Wow,
the Jacksons.
That would take a while.
Well, I mean, it's not hard to imagine a situation in which this family exists today and what child protective services are called by like a neighbor or whatever, like a lady in the park. And then these kids get thrown into foster care. Are they better people because of that? You know, does Matthew McConaughey become Matthew McConaughey in foster care?
Probably not.
Right. So I don't know. Like, again, I'm not saying one way or the other, but it makes you think of a time that we kind of glimpsed early on. I mean, there wasn't as much just kind of self-righteous indignation as much as there is now. So
Xenomorph's not a dice roller.
That gamble.
We learned that last week.
Right.
For sure.
But So yeah, I've been reading that. That's what made me think of this, and
So adults don't.
that's kind of the groundwork,
have
and
the
that would be
answers.
my. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you could be Dahmer. That's You could be McConaughey or a serial killer. You got the line isn't that
Either.
it's.
But either way, you're talking about greatness.
You're gonna be
I don't know about that.
the best, but are you the best at your craft? That's the thing.
Dahmer wasn't the best. He was just the creepiest.
No, he
And
wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Now I'm just thinking of like
actually, no,
Dahmer giving,
Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper was definitely the creepiest.
There's some
Kemper, yeah.
Ed Gein.
Dude, have you seen a picture of Ed Kemper?
Yeah.
That is a terrifying man.
Now I'm just thinking about Dahmer giving Matthew McConaughey's Oscar acceptance speech. Like, my hero 5 years from now is my
Dude.
Right. That is true, though. I mean, you could really go either way. You could be a really successful musician or artist or whatever, or you could be a complete psychopath.
Well, and honestly, and just speaking from a psychology background here, it's also going to depend on the structure of the beating and the punishment. Like, if it just comes out of alcoholism and rage, it's totally different than if it comes from, if there's a situation like with Matthew McConaughey where he knew he lied, and knew what was about to happen to him. That's totally different.
Yeah.
Even though it's still, if the beating is maybe the same severity, the context of the beating matters.
Yeah.
Period. That's a fact. There's no getting around that. Especially if, like I said, if it's something you can count on. But if you just come in and you're like, which dad or mom am I getting today?
Yeah.
Right. Depending on the addiction.
Different. Totally different.
Yep. No question there. This is an interesting topic to discuss because it sounds like you can endorse beating your kids having this conversation, but
But we do not.
We do not. We're
that.
discussing the beating that someone else lived through and a parenting style, and that there are no straightforward answers or paths to success or paths to happiness, etc. But I think it's interesting, though, the main point of adults don't have the answers. My brain.
Yeah, and before we jump to that real quick, McConaughey is clear about that in his writing, too.
Yeah.
He does not say he does the opposite. He's doing what I'm saying, is that this book makes you think, at least on that topic, of the fact that there are no objectively right or wrong answers. And he goes to the next step and says, yeah, I mean, obviously I would not say that you should beat your children.
Right.
Like,
Right.
he's explicit there. And I think we've been explicit there. So
all right. When I said we don't endorse beating your kid, we lost a viewer. So we had someone here that was really looking to have their back padded for beating their child.
I'm just looking for the okay.
On board.
Right, I was on board, and then they took it back like, nah.
We'll go through the backlog and find out who that is.
Yeah, right. I think
even that moment, let's not let that pass. This moment where we feel like we have to say something like that.
Right.
That's the problem.
It is a problem.
It's clear as day what I'm literally talking about a story, and I showed you the book it came from.
Right.
I don't need to say these things. I don't need to say that you shouldn't beat your kids.
Right.
Because I'm clearly not endorsing it. So
right.
It's that clear. So we don't need to do that, and I'm not going to be the type of person to do that.
Hey, I'm on board with that. Because it is. We already know what happens. So
yeah. So keep going. You were saying adults don't have the answer.
Where my brain went with that is, I mean, anybody in the chat. First off, any new viewers that have come in since 8:30, we are discussing if you could have a conversation with your younger self, if you could tell your younger self some things, what would it be? And telling your younger self that adults don't have the answers, where my brain went was, picture any job you've ever had. I'm going to use tech support for an internet service provider as my example.
Why though?
Because anything that you, or it doesn't even have to be a job, any hobby that you have or any skill that you pick up, it becomes very, very, very clear how little people actually know about said thing, right? Even though you might use it regularly, it might be something, all right, so your internet service, right? You might use your computer every day, you use your smartphone or your laptop connected to your home Wi-Fi, you use your TVs, you know how to change the channels. But as soon as one thing happens out of your little pattern, people fall apart and don't know shit about it. So it's my brain went to, unless it's something that they are dedicating their like life to from a significant amount of time to learning and honing a skill, you really don't know much about anything, period. Like, you might have a very surface level understanding of what things might be, but as far as being an expert or even remotely close to an expert on something, it's not a thing.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up. I have been telling a coworker this for like the past 2 months now. It amazes me how many things have to come together. Like millions of moving parts have to come together to get through a day. Like, you have to get up, you have to make your coffee, which requires like 8 steps. You have to get in your car. That alone requires years of engineering, like thousands of things to go correctly simultaneously.
Right, just your car starting.
Right. And then you get to your job, you do your 10 million little tasks, and everything kind of has to happen in the background. Like all the things you do on the computer in the office, or like any type of machinery that you don't think about every little moving part, but they're all happening. So nobody really knows everything about their day, but there's so many things that have to come together in order to make a day happen.
Right.
I just find it interesting.
Well, that and on the same note, and anyone that's worked in, like Jordan said, any job knows, as soon as you start talking to these adults, as a younger person, you go to these people that are supposed to have all the answers. Like Jordan said, it becomes really obvious really quickly. Like, oh, okay, you know less about this than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually worse than that, because a lot of these people in a lot of these jobs don't want to be there, right? And they're doing something they might not want to be doing. So they're kind of also maybe carrying around a bitterness with them, which
Right.
I see as coming from the automotive, especially on the plant, in a
Mhm.
plant level, and on the lab, like a testing floor. There's a level of bitterness there that it's tangible. It's you can feel it. The energy sphere when you walk into a place like that is negative.
Yeah. It's
So
that cloud.
yes, yeah, it hits you, it knocks you off your seat, and
Yeah.
it's unavoidable. And you come to terms like, oh, okay, well, these people were the ones telling me what to do growing up. But
Yeah.
then you get there, you grow up, and you're like, why did these people feel comfortable saying anything to me?
Right. I don't want to be like these people. Why did I listen to them?
Yeah, there's a lot of unhealthy behaviors, a lot of unhealthy people, and so yeah, the book made me just realize maybe we should stop being so self-righteous about everything, and stop trying to give answers to questions that nobody's asking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because at the individual level, a lot of these questions aren't being asked, right? They're maybe societal questions or overarching zeitgeist questions, but the individual isn't concerned with a lot of these things.
Yeah.
So made me think of that.
I saw something yesterday, and it really made me reflect on some of the things that I do. When somebody asks me or anybody else a question, and you feel like you kind of know the answer, but you kind of just run with it, like you're an expert, like you kind of.
Oh, dude, I see it. Yeah, I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody's guilty of it, but like you see something like that, and it makes you realize, like, oh shit, I do that all the time. Like, why do I do that? And it went on to say there's no shame in just flat out saying I don't know.
Right. In fact, you should absolutely do that more often.
Yes. Yeah. I think people should, because if you don't know 100% what you're talking about, you could potentially cause a lot of damage on the other end, especially in like a job or something like that.
Right.
Is that from that? You talking about that video I sent from who? I forget who
Yeah,
it was.
that's where I saw it. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
can
it was.
remember
It said
exactly where I
it's
saw
like
it.
don't be scared of being the dumbest person in the room.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. There's no shame.
Nope.
You can't be an
And
expert on everything.
no, and like Jordan said, a lot of these people that are purporting to be experts aren't experts. I mean, that's also another human psychology, like an unavoidable truth, is most of us aren't experts in our craft, even if we're paid for it. So,
Yeah.
to Jordan's point, there are. If I go into the gym at GF Team and I train with Dante, right?
Mhm.
That's an actual expert.
Right.
He's a top-ranked jiu-jitsu competitor, but he's not going to sit there and try to tell me about the universe or like taxes or how a shift in unemployment benefits is going to crash the economy or something like that. He's not going to start doing that. He's going to go, "What are we talking about? Let me choke you."
Right.
That's what I'm good at. That's what I'm going to talk on. That's what real experts actually do. Every one of them I've ever met behaves like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know when you're in the presence of people that actually know what they're talking about.
100%.
Especially if you've seen the opposite. So.
And Xenomorph is pointing out, I think it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Where you have this aptitude to speak as an expert even though you know shit about it, which is a plague in at least America these days, because everybody's an expert on everything, especially on a political landscape. So yeah, that's I think that's a good thing to be aware of. I wrote a short list of things for this discussion, but the more I do that, I gain confidence when I know. Always eager to learn and retain it because I don't assume knowledge where there is none. Yeah, for sure. It also,
So-
you know what? I want to say one other thing on that topic too is if you take that standpoint that Xenomorph is talking about and what John and Alex were discussing, where you readily admit you're not the expert, the level of freedom that opens up
Yes.
for you and the stress it takes off of you as well, where
Yes.
it's just you remove pressure from yourself. You then can focus on learning, right? You can ask questions and actually learn something new or improve your performance at work or a skill or a hobby or whatever
Right.
it is you're doing.
Untethered learning, like you said, because
Right.
you're not being held back by your own mental state
Right.
and by the expectations of others, right?
Yes. And also, especially in a work environment, it allows you, speaking now from I'm in my first managerial type role that I've ever had. I've told all of my team this week and the week before that I see my position as working for them, not the other way around. And I want to try and make that very clear to them. And if I walked around, I'm a resource for them to remove roadblocks. I'm to try. My intention is to make their job easier to do, more effective, deliver results. My job is to deliver results, and to get results, we have to make things run smoother. So if I walked around like I had every single answer, we would be in such a worse place. It's utilize the people around you. If I get asked a question and don't know, I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the right answer, and we're going to, implement it properly or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On that similar kind of note, I met one of my, great heroes kind of at the apex of when I viewed him as a hero. Was not necessarily a hero, but like an intellectual giant, what I would have referred to as an intellectual giant, when I met and got to have dinner with Richard Dawkins, right?
Right, yeah.
And I actually did my master's thesis on a thing he created. Like, the idea of a meme as it actually exists is his idea from the selfish gene. And I got to have dinner. I sat next to him for a night, drinking wine and talking. And
Awesome.
I at one point threw an idea at him about his own theory. And his response left me with a level of disappointment that I don't think I've ever felt since then.
Oh, really?
Because even an expert isn't, if they're not paying attention 100%, and if they're not dialed in on that specific front, like I said, they're not even gonna probably entertain the idea. They're not gonna free flow with you on it. It's just like,
Yeah.
my focus is here now. I actually don't even really think about that much anymore. That was pretty much the extent. I went off on this long thing, and that was his response. So it's just like, even these experts aren't gonna, we're limited by our attention and what we're focused on.
Exactly.
They're at least willing to admit that. So
Right, for sure.
in retrospect, I respect it, but at the moment, it was
You wanted it. You wanted to just have this great conversation, and he was like, "No, I'm not there."
Yeah.
because I
not
thought
my
it was
lane.
a great idea.
Right.
And
Right.
and even like a simpler kind of example of that is you listen to any musicians or artist interviews, and they're always like, "No, my stuff it's okay." When really, like, as a fan, you're like, "This is life changing for me."
Right.
Like, your music has gotten me through tough times. It's made my days better. Things like that. And when I met, it was this band called The Body. It was a while ago. They're like this industrial metal band. But the guitarist, I was talking to him, and I was like, this album, No One Deserves Happiness. It's like one of their most popular albums, I guess. I was talking to him about it. I'm like, that album, when it came out, was like a shift in my perception of art. And it was so pivotal to me. And I was like talking to him about it. And at the end of it, he's just like, yeah, I didn't like that album. I hated making it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, I was expecting this whole, like, oh yeah, we did this to like get this noise. And like, I'm really glad. It's like, no, we didn't really like it.
Yeah, and another example of that, there's a guy right now in the NBA named Luka Doncic that's basically averaging a triple double. So he's got like 25 plus points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists ish.
Mhm.
And he was doing an interview with the guys, I think at TNT or something, and they were talking about his play. Actually, it was with Stephen A. Smith, who I'm not a big fan of, but he goes on and they're lauding him for his play, and he's like, "No, I'm actually not playing that well." He's averaging a triple double. But to Jordan's point about the leadership thing,
Yeah.
he's also kind of the captain of his team, and his team is not faring well. He's playing really well, but his team is losing. So he goes,
Sure.
clearly I'm not playing that well. Look at our record, essentially. But so there's both of those points are kind of encapsulated there, because good leadership, obviously, like Jordan said, is it's a communication based thing, and it's a bottom up on behalf of the top, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's how it should work.
Right. Xenomorph's disappointment with a musician. Damn.
A singer biting her.
I think it's supposed to say
hit.
hit up.
Yeah, it is. It's hit.
That's a typo that matters.
That's a typo that matters. Bit me. What the hell? Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So what did you guys have?
So I had one. Hold on, I wrote it down. So I was actually thinking about this yesterday in the shower, because that's where I come up with all my good thoughts. Taking more time to make yourself happy and pursuing the things that you love as a child, because I feel like no matter how old that I get, I always go back and look at the things that I loved as a kid, kind of wishing I pursued those things a little bit more, because I'm always striving for the things that I used to love to make me happy. Because I know that they do. But if I could focus more of my attention on going out of my way to make myself happy instead of trying to appease everybody else, like my parents, my siblings, whoever else, being a little bit more selfish, I think would have serviced me a little bit better.
That first off, I know exactly where John's brain just went, and I think that
It's actually
ties.
an extension of my point.
I was
yeah.
going to say it ties in exactly to kind of what John was saying, and you just touched on at the end there, Alex, where if you focus on yourself rather than what maybe others' expectations of you are, and
Right.
those others don't actually have the answers, even though they're instructing you to do something with your life or do something else. And
Right.
I know
That's
John's
a bingo.
right. I know
Bingo.
John's going to video games, you know. Growing up, it wouldn't even seem it's not even in the realm of possibility, or wasn't in the realm of possibility, to go up to our parents and say, you know, I'm not going to go to college, at least right away. I'm going to give a crack at professional gaming. That would have, it's like, I don't know, heresy. Like,
Yeah.
so
Well,
But-
and it was
But
even
look at the
worse.
world of gaming right now. You could have been,
exactly.
It was even worse than that because I actually had already qualified
Right.
for professional gaming. I was a top shelf video game player. I mean, I probably still am if you give me enough time. But like, I was one of the best fighting game and first person shooter gamers in the country, and I got to play with these people, and I qualified to be on their teams, and it still wasn't really an option.
yeah,
Right. So
So-
parents,
which is unfortunate.
ask some questions before you just say no.
Yes.
Find out, because maybe your kid is fucking good at what they're doing, and maybe they'll let you retire early.
Dude, I used to always say that to Dad. I'd be like, "Hey, if you guys would have let me
Right.
go play video games, I could have been dating a Russian model and been sending you checks."
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, that's definitely a thing. It legit wasn't a thing. Yeah, I mean, it was becoming a thing, but
Yeah.
either
You couldn't.
Nobody-
point and go, look at this.
the
right,
trajectory
right,
of it, the way that it is now.
right. But on that, well, whatever. That's it.
It doesn't have to be gaming though. Like you said, it's anything. I mean,
Yeah.
Anything.
it starts with you admitting you don't have the answers, and then you just see, like, it's not even, they knew I was good. Like no one didn't know I wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they knew I was good at it, but again, that structure wasn't there, or that pathway wasn't clear. So
Right.
it was like, well, what do you mean? That's not a thing. Here,
Yeah.
go rack up 6 figures in student debt. Do that instead.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know,
See,
man.
that's the thing. Is like,
Jeez.
yeah, they want the best for you and stability, and
Stability,
that's
for
great.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
great. But you get to a certain point in your life, and I'm already there, where you can be making a certain salary that's really comfortable, but if you're not doing what you like, you're not going to be happy.
Right. Right.
You-
Change that. They want best in stability to they want optimal levels of happiness.
Yes.
That's a different outcome.
It's much more important. Be happy requires killing people, then obviously,
Right.
you know, lock that kid out. But you know,
Right.
Well, and I think there's also a myth of stability with normal jobs. That's also not real. Period.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that firsthand, especially depending on your market and what you're in. You
Yep.
could be performing perfectly well and come in one day and you don't have a job.
I had my boss at ProMedica. She was a director, very well respected in every department, every wing of the company that she ever interacted with. She was highly respected. She was a 25-year employee, and she came in to pack her bags one day because of a merger that the company went through. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
Robbie Cuba with the happiness should always be the answer. And then Xenomorph with yes, but they think that would allow for happiness. Also, different generation. The generation point is what's
Yes.
important here.
Spot
which is
on.
It's the theme for this whole discussion, even the book we talked about, that there was a specific pathway that
That's true.
everyone had built into their brains.
yes,
But that pathway, by the time it was my turn to go on it, was not what it was
right.
in their heads, and it's actually was outright harmful if you decided to pursue it. And to Robbie Cuba's point again about happiness should always be the answer, I think that's the biggest thing we have going on in the country right now. If you look at like demographics for work, for marriage, all things like that, this current generation is behaving in a way that's different than the ones prior, and they're not interested in the old prizes for the old games. They're not interested in it.
Yeah.
We don't want to work a job we don't necessarily like for 50 years so that we can retire when we're 65.
Right.
That's not interesting. I don't care what the quality of life is. I don't care if you could double my salary. Again, to Alex's point, if you're not enjoying it on the day to day, I got to spend 40 hours there a week.
Right.
Right. Not interesting. You could pay me all the money in the world.
Yeah, money pays the bills, but it doesn't make you happy.
Right. I kind of have a different, which I've realized very recently, because I was always after the job I would really enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. And that was kind of at the front of my search. I was finding something that I would enjoy every day. And I think I've honestly changed my perspective on it. Not that I don't want to enjoy my work, but that's not the first item for me anymore. I want something that is challenging and interesting. Not necessarily it's like the thing that I love. You know, if I had an opportunity, look, man, if I was fucking really, really good at playing guitar and can make a living on YouTube or on the internet or in a band, yeah, I would probably I would go that way. But it's not reality for me right now. So for my work, I had to ask myself these questions kind of recently. And yeah, I want something that provides a level of comfort salary wise, so I can take care of things and not live stressed out, because that to me matters. I know income and money or whatever isn't a thing for a lot of people, and they do just want to love what they're doing every day at work, but I don't really have that. As long as I don't dislike my job. I don't dislike the people I work for. I don't dislike the company I work for. There's none of that at all. So that's obviously important. I don't go to work hating my job whatsoever. But I would rather have something that provides resources and comfort to my brain, that I don't have things that I have to worry about, that is then just challenging and interesting and something that's changing regularly. I work for a technology company. Stuff's going to be, things are different. New things happen all the time. It's always changing. I always have to learn things. And that's kind of what I realized I need from work, is I can't go and do the same thing. That's where I kind of get lost, and I'm always looking for the next thing. I was always looking for, all right, well, what's the next step then? Whereas having something that is challenging me regularly, that's interesting, and I don't dislike, but I wouldn't say that my job isn't what fulfills me, right? It's not like I love what I'm doing. I love going and being a supervisor of the department. It's not that. I don't dislike it whatsoever, but it's challenging
and that's not what I was saying. Like, obviously not everybody is in love with their job.
Right. Your audio is breaking up. We losing Alex?
But yeah, I mean, to your point though, you're checking those other boxes.
Yeah.
The engaging, the interesting, the problem solving, that's totally different. I mean, as long as like you said, you're not unhappy, you are achieving happiness in a way, and like you said, blocking out those negative roadblocks, right?
Yeah.
Alex, so that would be the xenomorph saying stability may be the happiness to them, which is part what you're touching on. Very few people find a job they love, and something a person loves has a funny way of ruining itself when you have to do it, for sure.
Yeah.
That when you turn your hobby into an obligation, I feel like everyone has felt that at one point in time. Definitely. Especially because it starts to bring in those outward pressures, and it's no longer for you, about you. It's different.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're
Can you
back.
guys hear me?
Yeah, what were you saying?
Okay,
Yep.
so it sounds like Johnny was kind of continuing what I was saying before I cut out. My face froze like this.
Yeah, I just popped in just to.
Yeah, so obviously not everybody's in love with their job, but just like you were saying, Jordan, if it's challenging, if you enjoy it, if you like the people you work with, as long as it doesn't make you miserable and like you were experiencing, Johnny, like you hated your job. It was making your quality of life worse.
Oh yeah.
You had to get out.
Right.
Yep. And I was actually contacted by a guy that worked there afterwards, and he reached out. And we just talked a little bit, and he said he's in a different position than me in a different department. But he said currently and for the moment, the problems, to Jordan's point, the problem solving aspect is enough to keep me here. But he also recognized the incredibly poor culture there at the same time. So he sees the writing on the wall. But to Jordan's point, his position was giving him that maybe that economic freedom, as well as providing him with at least a little stimulation throughout the day, which in itself is an avenue toward happiness. Even if you don't like the activity, if it's stimulating, there's a way you can trick your brain into thinking that you're enjoying something.
Which that's that balance. More said balance is huge. I know. I guess I would tell my younger self. I don't know how I would word it, but it would have to be a conversation where you come to that realization where I know when, between the years of 18 and 25, that's without a doubt the most I don't want to use the word depressed. Anything. It's not like I was in a depression, but it's the most stressful, straining, uncertain, probably unhappy years, because I was in a constant search for what I was going to do. And having that balance where you don't have to, it's like you're kind of like chasing what is the dream job? What am I going to love to do every day? And once I changed that focus of, literally in the last 2 years, I had that conversation with myself because I was still pushing for a certain role, and I had an opportunity to get into the role I'm in now. And it was, okay, do I keep pushing for what was in my head as what position might make me the happiest at work, or what work would I enjoy more, versus taking an opportunity that was put in front of me to do something that was maybe a little bit more natural for my skill set, and I knew would be a good opportunity. So I had that conversation of, just what mattered to me in the workplace more, and whatever. I'm kind of derailing a little bit, but
no, and I think it's all cyclical. All these things are involved with one another.
Yeah.
The whole reason that 18 to 25 is such a struggle for so many people is because they are being pressed to the rails on a train that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That timeline isn't real. You don't have to figure out what you're going to do from 18 to 25. In fact, you're probably going to make the wrong decision.
Yeah. Most likely, yeah.
Multiple
and get
times.
A whole lot of debt. Yeah.
Which goes to the initial point about adults and society at large, because it was built by the previous generation, not necessarily understanding the current times and not necessarily having the answers. So if you're willing to say, hey, you just got out of high school, I don't know what you should do. You don't know what you should do. Go explore. I don't care if you go to college right now. Why would you do that?
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense to me. That's gonna be the conversation I have. It's not gonna be you're out of high school. Where are you going to college? It's gonna be like, okay, what do you find interesting?
Right.
Because then 18 to 25 can be what it is. You can use that time to explore where it's not stressful, where you can test the waters, where you can do all these things.
Most of us are going to be broke, struggling to get by. So just,
you're gonna do it anyway. So why not do it without the baggage and the tethers and
Yeah.
the
And
debt,
the
and
pressure and the debt. Jesus.
yeah,
That's definitely
just
on my list.
because most
And-
people aren't gonna enter 30 with that position, or that
No.
I've nailed it. No, and the adults, the midlife crisis is a thing because they don't have the answers.
Exactly.
Right. And then they feel
And they
lost.
still don't have the answers, right? Like,
Right.
maybe I need a motorcycle. No, you're 50 and you're unhappy. And
So
that's
get a
not gonna help.
Corvette.
Right, exactly.
Right. That'll
so-
fill all those holes.
But Robbie actually brings up a good comment. Once you get to, like, you have that mentality of, once I get to this place, once I have that job or that degree, then I'll allow myself to be happy. I've actually had this mentality for a while now, ever since I left Honda, ever since I stopped being a mechanic, because I would always look like, well, once I'm a technician 2 and I'm making this amount of money, then I'll be in a good spot financially and mentally. But by the time I got there, a year or so, my ambitions had shifted to, well, I want to be this now. I want to be Tech 3, and I'm not going to allow myself to be happy until I hit that. And it's just constantly chasing your tail to be happy, and then you're never happy and always anxious.
And where's that race go, right? We already know where that goes. The
Right.
goal is on that track, on those rails, that you retire when you're 65.
Yep.
So that what? So that you've not cultivated a personality. So what? That you can retire, and then what happens to a lot of these people? They go right back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because it's too late. Your body's probably not working that well. You've not taken care of your mind. You've not taken care of your situation. So what? You maybe you had all this money and now you can retire, but what are you going to do at that time? And what's it matter if you're doing it when you're 65?
Yeah.
For sure.
So like you have to buy into that entire narrative to even view that beginning stage as it's presented as any sort of meaningful or correct. So that's our goal. It's definitely my goal. It's our role as this generation to not make that mistake.
Right.
Yes.
Right. For
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah. Like you said, not an immediate, hey, where are you going to college? That mindset just needs to disappear.
Yeah.
And it's a frustrating thing. Is I'll change the tone a little bit here on, because basically we've been saying that adults don't have the advice, they don't have the answers for you, that you really need to kind of investigate and think for yourself a bit to kind of find what's going to make you happy. But there is absolutely something to be said about life experience on other things. Maybe not what you're going to do for a living or what hobbies you're going to pick up or what you're going to spend your time doing to make yourself happy, but there is definitely some things you can tell your younger self to prevent some struggle. That if you teenagers would just listen a little bit, by the time you hit 25, you won't be as angry at yourself.
Mm-hmm. Don't get a car loan.
Yeah, like that.
Don't get a car loan.
That sort of stuff. Personal finance, decision making on school. It's the college debt, all of that sort of stuff. Living in a dorm, like our younger siblings, all of us. John and I are one of 7. Alex, you're one of 6. John's the oldest, then myself. You're the second oldest, Alex. So we have a lot of younger siblings, and pretty much all of them are either in the high school or just out of high school age group right now, or really close to it. And trying to have the conversations with them, you might as well talk to wallpaper.
Yes.
You try and say, like, I get the resistance to hear your parents saying it. You might think they're decades removed from the experience you're going through. I didn't finish college. I finished college in what would have been 2017, something like that. I'm not that far removed from.
I finished it in 2019.
Right. So
I'm still in college.
Yes. So it's like I'm, either currently in the experience you're going through, just years ahead with some life experience than you are, and it still falls on on absolutely deaf ears. It's like, yo,
Yes.
you want to move out, you don't want to live at home anymore. You want this quote unquote college experience, and instead, but you don't know what you want to do for a living. So you're going to go sign up for classes full time on student loans, live in a dorm off campus so you don't have to live at home, and regret all of those decisions in a few years. That's exactly how that's going to go.
It won't even take that long. That's
right.
the unfortunate.
You're going to live with people that have never
You're gonna
taken
end
care
up
of their
hating.
own place. They're going to trash your place. They don't know how to do dishes. They don't know how to clean up after themselves. You're going to you're not going to enjoy spending time around each other because none of you have ever lived with another person. It's like, yo, if you want to do that, if you want to get out and do your own thing and have your own experience, by all means, go get a full-time job and a one-bedroom apartment. That will prepare you.
And skip the college thing altogether.
Yeah. Unless you absolutely know what you want to do,
but you don't.
Well, the vast majority don't.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Most of the time, you're safe on saying, yeah, the thing you think let's
But
take.
if you just want the college
what?
experience,
You know what?
get a cheap apartment and go to college parties.
Right.
Way cheaper.
Right. Let me
skip the $1,500 online class.
Right. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Let me amend it a little bit. So even if you think very strongly that you know what you want to do, go shadow someone in that position. Don't go to classes for it. Go figure it out. You can call a company if you think you want to be a nurse. A hospital will set something up so you can shadow a nurse. And you might find really, really quickly, like my wife did, that patient care is not her thing.
Or you might fall in love with it.
Or you might fall in love with it. Yep.
Yeah, you find the answer though.
You might think you want to be a police officer. They will do a ride along. You can see what that looks like.
This whole thing points to packaging though. Like we're saying almost the opposite of what we were just saying, but the point is that the packaging of the sentence and the message and the lesson matters. Like the goal isn't A to B to C to D to E. It's you've finished this thing and we can skip probably all these stupid stages. Let's just get to the meat and bones of figuring out who you are and how can we do that without falling into the traps that society has set up.
Right. Don't graduate high school and get a car loan, a credit card, and student debt. End that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and that's the point. Like you said, we're personal experience. And I mean, I had a very, a much less consequential conversation with you when you bought the Corsos.
That was on my list.
It was a very small one-off conversation. Because you only were supposed to get Murdoch, right? The male, and you ended up getting Bagheera as well. So you ended up getting two of these giant behemoth animals, and it was just a conversation we had. Yeah, they look like panthers for real. At my dad's house or our dad's house, and I said, "Dude, that's gonna be a lot of expense in dog food." Just like I was like, "This is gonna be a very expensive thing," and you were very indignant about it. You were just like, "That'll be fine." I'm just like, dude, this is gonna be stupid. Expensive.
Yeah,
worry about it later.
Yeah, no, it's
and I didn't even know necessarily from experience because I didn't have personally a giant dog. I knew just how expensive the little dog we had was for food. And if you're on that borderline, like a lot of people are, dog food expense is enough to make things uncomfortable.
100%.
And then vet bills too.
Yes.
I mean, the vet is never cheap. Anytime you go to the vet, regardless, $100.
Yep, that's a problem for future me to worry about. Dude, yeah, I mean that's
true though. That's a human psychology thing. We're always gonna damage our future selves for the present, unless it becomes a practice. Like you actually have to focus on that.
So,
which is why the younger people are so bad at it because it's not. We have so many hormones rushing through our bodies at that point. We have so many other influences. It's hard to be like, hey man, let's
slow down.
Let's slow down, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard. Had this conversation with Alex's younger sister, with our younger sister, about the college experience, and but I did the same thing. You know what I mean? I absolutely did the same. I made all of the mistakes with personal finance, with student debt, with taking classes for a degree I wasn't certain on, all sorts of things. You know, I did all of those mistakes, and I up until what? So I'm staring down 30 this May, right? And up until I don't know, maybe the last 2 years, I've gotten mostly beyond all of those younger mistakes. The amount of time it takes. So I tried to tell Nicole, you know, I don't know if it was her birthday or Christmas or whatever. I got her a Dave Ramsey book. Anybody listening? Dave Ramsey, Personal Finance. Maybe you don't like all of the shit he says, but I'm a very easy sell, and if it's just numbers and very basic things and it makes sense, I'm on board. So went all in on that, and I bought her his book before she went to college. And I was basically like, look, there is going to be a day in your near future where you're very unhappy and dissatisfied with the state of your personal finances and the stress it's causing you. Remember, this book is here, because I know you're not going to read it first. Like, you're just not. But keep it there and use it as a resource, because, yeah, that's just a strain. I don't know. I mean, I know it's the whole thing, money doesn't make you happy. That's true, but being poor makes you unhappy, you know? If you're trying to, unless you're living some shamanistic or simple lifestyle in a tiny house, some self-sustained dude out in the woods, by all means, go do your thing. But, you know, being
not necessarily poor, but like the way Dave Chappelle refers to poverty. Like, I think it's Chappelle that was saying that poverty is the greatest treadmill. Like, if to run away, he's constantly running away from that once you've felt that, because you can be poor, obviously, and be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many examples of that, because it all depends on, but there's like a spiritual poverty and a spiritual poor that goes along with that it's easy to slip into when that stuff starts snowballing, the finances, and you lose the car and you lose the girl, or you lose the boy and all that stuff. Poverty,
when you're struggling to buy groceries, it's not a fun place to be in. And you know, my personal experience was doing it with, you know, my now wife, but girlfriend at the time. So
your ex-girlfriend,
my ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance, current wife. It's that's a whole other level of strain that maybe most people don't have on it. But yeah, I would the personal finance it's not even taught in America. What you got, Robbie Cuba? I'm going to send you a link.
That's right. That bottom line.
Basically says white people don't view themselves as poor, but as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. That's funny.
So this week on Real Time, Bill Maher had Charlemagne the God on, and Coca-Cola ran that "Be Less White" ad or whatever.
Yep.
And I was dying because they started talking about that, and there was a New York Times op-ed author or writer on there, Bill Maher and Charlemagne, and Bill Maher and the other white dude are going back and forth. Well, I don't know how to be less white. I know how to be more compassionate and this and that. And the whole time I'm like screaming at the TV. I'm like, you know what that means.
Everybody knows what that means.
Stop pretending that we don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that means, and which is perfect, it came right out. I didn't even have to make anything up. The op-ed dude says that, and then Charlemagne just goes, "It's because you're white."
Yep.
You don't know what that means. That means you're white. You're that white that we're talking about.
They're not telling us to go tanning.
But then he goes on to say, you know, to the Cuba point, that white people in this country don't necessarily know the amount of privilege they walk around with.
Yes.
Like, even if they're poor or what have you, they still view themselves. They still the American dream, which goes along with the rails we were talking about earlier, is a thing that we can all get to, and that's this mountain with a clear path. And as soon as we can get on that first step, it's just a matter of time before we get to the top, surely.
Right.
Yep.
But that dream, depending on your upbringing, depending on your race, depending on your ethnicity, and all of those things, it varies and or doesn't exist.
Yes. And
so that would be that poverty point too, as well. Like if you're deep in the mud and you can't see your way out, that's totally different than you have a clear way forward.
Yeah.
Now I will say, and we'll try to get back on like a positivity note here. I just wanted to say one thing about that with my experience living in the South and very obvious white privilege. And there's just something different about like Southern privilege. When all the shootings were happening, the cops killing black people, obviously for no reason, and there being clear evidence, video wise.
You're talking about the recent ones, obviously.
Yeah, the recent ones in the past year or so.
Yeah.
I had multiple coworkers and friends even say, well, all these people don't really know what they're talking about. They're saying, white privilege this, white privilege that. And I'm like, whether or not you believe it, it's absolutely true. And somebody made a video and it put it in perfect perspective to me. It's like when you get in your car and you're going to the store at night, or you're just going to get a beer or going to hang out with your friends, you're never in fear that if you get pulled over for like a broken taillight or something, you could be shot. That never goes through your mind ever. But especially during that time, for younger black males and the people that were being, was absolutely a fear. And that forced them, the people that I was telling this to, that kind of forced them to think like, oh shit, that's like a real fear. That's really what they kind of go through. It's like a glimpse into what they go through.
Working on the plant floor and whatnot, you often hear stuff like, well, what privileges, it's against the law. Like, they've got every privilege I have. And I'm like, you don't understand it. You're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're either choosing not to think about it, or you can't even imagine it. But then you give them some basic things like that. I mean, or the fact that, I grew up and I went to a high school that was largely white, and they decided to run a social experiment as basically a private institution to bring in inner city kids from poorly performing schools. And, they were going to, white savior them to a proper education. And by the time this large table of individuals that I sat with for years, by the time graduation came, there was like one or two left. And I would sit there and talk to them about their high school education experience that they were transported from. And they would tell me that they'd be sitting in class and sometimes their teacher wouldn't even show up. So it's stuff like that. You take that generationally and you take that day by day, and it's obvious. It's not.
Yeah.
Those aren't things I had to worry about.
Right.
Period.
Right. And if you don't ever have to worry about it, you don't think about it. You don't think it's a real thing. So.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you're definitely just ignorant to it.
Sure. Right.
So yeah, adults don't have all the answers.
Nobody does. Nobody has any of the answers.
Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. You just gotta try some things, ask yourself some questions. You have to spend time with yourself. That was, I don't know. Like I said, during those like 18 to 25, you realize how, whatever, you're stressed about your finances, about school, about your relationship, about whatever. You just you have to tune things out, and you have to spend some time with yourself, and it's not just grind. It's not just, work harder or do this or do that. That's the following steps. You have to spend some time with yourself first. And I guess that would be like the main thing I would try and tell myself then, because you give up certain things. Like I stopped playing guitar for however many years.
You almost sold it.
I did almost sell it. It was Alex. It was your dad that prevented me from selling my first guitar.
Yeah.
But that came out of a freaking personal finance struggle. I was having to move across the country, had no money to do it basically, and whatever. So guitar was on the chopping block. Yeah.
Well, it all goes to what you're saying with the xenomorph comment. We are all unique individuals. Like that's one thing that parents should just start getting in their head is your kids aren't you. Just start from that basic understanding. Even though they came from you and you reared them on things you enjoyed. Like I said, I can't even already get my 6-year-old daughter to pick Bulbasaur and Pokemon.
Right.
She's already different. It's obvious. So you need to embrace that, and you need to also start with the understanding that this life does have a lot of pitfalls. So if we could just take a step back, not be so direct with the advice, but package it in a kind of roundabout way that includes their individuality. I think that is different than if you go to college, you're going to rack up 6 figures in debt. Don't go to college. As a teenager, you're going to college now just because that was way too direct and you probably don't even like your dad or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, if you have that kind of relationship,
yeah. So, I mean, packaging matters as well. So,
Squirtle's the
right choice. Never picked him. Never picked Squirtle.
That was always my final choice was Squirtle.
Yeah, same.
So.
I was Squirtle growing up. Changed to Bulbasaur. With age, you realize Bulbasaur is the way to go. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Dude, exactly. You'd be a different person today if you'd have picked Bulbasaur back in the day. You wouldn't have gone into debt. You wouldn't have done graphic design,
Dude, yeah, that's
Jordan, that's interesting you brought up selling your guitar, because I think when people are going through something, like if you need the money now, what goes on the chopping block? It's not the essentials. It's the extracurricular things. Like say you have a sports car, the sports car is going to be the first thing to go. If you have a motorcycle or if you have an instrument, those are going to be the things to go because what else are you going to sell?
Right.
And it's easier to give up a piece of yourself than to have your family sacrifice something to support you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, especially as Cuba said, temporarily embarrassed millionaires. In your head, you're also thinking, well, I'll just get that guitar back.
And you won't.
I'll get that time back.
That's the thing.
There will be a time I'll be on the top of the mountain with the guitar shredding.
Right.
And looking down at all these peasants going, look at me.
Xenomorph, those are essential.
If
those are your passions, if those are the things that make you happy, happiness is essential.
Yeah. But that's also what I was thinking, because it's like, all right, well, would I tell myself to do something or not to do something? Because ultimately, I don't look back with regret on my decisions. I wish, I could have done certain things differently that would have made my pathway a bit easier or expedited me to getting to a certain place. But I don't look back with regret, other than selling my guitar amp, which I did do. Really nice one. But I kept that guitar, and thinking about that, what you just said, John, is what if I did? Because you do think I'll get it later, or I can get another one.
That same one too. Like I'm gonna get it. No,
right.
I'll find it.
But would you? Because then all these other things that we've kind of discussed come up, where it's like, all right, well, now you're looking at the next step. So it's like, all right, well, once I get to this, then I'll get it. And then you get there, and you're like, all right, well, no, I got to do this because I got to get a house, and well, we got to
goes along right with what Robbie Cuba was saying.
Yeah. So
Squirtle's the right choice.
right.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, so Xenomorph, right. Today I have a feeling that Jordan's guitar is the last thing that he would sell, which is,
those dogs are gone first.
Dude,
you couldn't buy them if you wanted, dude. They would not go with you.
No.
Murdoch would eat whoever. He would have a panic attack until he had a heart attack.
Would you like to have a deaf 200-pound Black Panther?
Man, he is deaf
like
now,
80
dude.
Week.
It's outrageous.
Ooh, he can learn dig. That is big. Back on the
Big.
Squirtle point.
Sure. But yeah. So I was thinking about that. Like, yeah, you might never. I might have never picked it back up. I might have never. Oh my God, Alex, the frame you're frozen on
It's
right now,
perfect.
dude. Ah.
Wait, am I still frozen?
I can
You were
hear
like-
you, but your picture's gone.
You're much
is it-
smaller and your hands are out on the
That
table.
was great. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're likely, as you guys said, to not go back to that same spot, which is why it's so instructive to take that time to figure yourself out and to not fall into those mistakes. Just admit, starts with individuals not having the answers, but then you need to spread that awareness that it's okay to not know the answer, like
Yeah.
Alex was saying earlier. Because if you can just admit that, you don't have to do all those things, and there are different ways to get to. Maybe it's not even a mountain, at the end of the day. Maybe it's just it's like a tent by a pond instead, and there's
Right.
actually no climbing. We know people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, my cousin, it's a line I think about all the time. He's like, I'm not interested in playing for the prizes that this country creates games for.
Yeah. For
The
sure.
person that can say that sentence is a person that understands themselves a little bit more than the average person.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting because we kind of get to run the experiment with
I'm gonna, yeah.
with the kids. So yeah, I told a plan, a financial goal that I had kind of told Ray, my wife, that I would that I want to be in for when my kids become an age to where they're going to go out on their own. Is I want to be in a financial position that allows them to take a risk doing something that they are passionate about, that they believe in, and that they want to throw themselves into without the risk of 2 decades worth of recovery now because it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Right. Not that it's like, yeah, allow them to fail if need be. Right. Not that I'm, I don't want to be in a position where I'm buying them cars and financing their business ventures or buying them a house, anything like that. It's just in a spot where if Iris has an idea that she believes in, she's passionate about, but there's the only reason she's not going for it is the fear of failure because of having to recover and finances. Right. I want to try and avoid that and just see what then that truly allows you to be, I guess, creative and do something that you actually do love.
Well, the simple way of putting that would be you want to create a financial situation where Iris doesn't have to sell her guitar.
Yeah, she keeps her guitar.
Yep. Wow,
There
that's
you
so
go.
poetic.
See.
You need to start writing some stuff down, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Or I just need to read that book.
Xenomorph, that's actually exactly it. She won't know that net is there. It's not like, oh, go try it, and if it fails, I'll buy you out. It's not that, because then you don't...
No, because then she'll just do anything.
Well, then you also...
You have to have a fear of failure.
Exactly. You have to you have to have that, kick in your ass to... You need the full motivation. If you're going to create something of your own, it's not going to... Pieces aren't just going to fall into place. It's going to be hard work, but yes, knowing that we'll be able to prevent, because I mean, not that I didn't even go through like crazy financial struggles, but any damage to finances is a long recovery, especially, whatever. I don't want to get into freaking credit on here. That's obnoxious, but damage there it's not a quick turnaround, and it is stressful if you're trying to turn things around and get back
potentially
on track.
life-changing.
Right.
If you want to pursue race car driving, but you have, at the age of 25, you have $20,000 in debt and you can't get a loan for like a shell of a car that you want to build and get out on the racetrack. So you're just like, well, I guess I just won't do that then.
Right.
Yeah,
you immediately throw
I'll build model cars instead.
Right.
right.
Push them right across the table with the...
Yeah.
Robbie
was
Cuba,
dumb.
some ape millions of years ago picks up a tool, and now I need a credit score.
Sweet.
Oh man, I actually just saw a hilarious meme where it was an illustration of the first animal that left the water to go on land, and it was a bunch of human middle fingers pointing at it. It was like, this asshole decided to come on land, and now I have to pay rent.
Right.
And it's to put that into our context, it would be a lot of the problems in this life now that I'm an adult are manufactured.
Yeah.
The credit
100%.
score, all these things, not only are they human constructs, but you don't have to fall into them. Like it's manufactured systems and manufactured failures.
Yeah.
So
And none of it's real.
exactly.
Right.
It's not a tangible thing. Like a credit's like not even money is real.
Right.
It's a piece of paper with a promise of, or it used to be a promise of like gold. But what's gold? It's a piece of metal that somebody found under the ground. And what's that?
Right. Some star exploded and now I need a savings.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly, dude. What is that?
Yeah, that I
Well,
mean that's
and-
exactly it. What Xenomorph just said is those fears will prevent innovation and create. It'll prevent people from taking a risk and going after what they want, because they've also been instilled and drilled into their head that they have to do X, Y, and Z to get to age 65 to retire.
Right.
Right. So.
Well, yeah, you can't have the perfect job without college, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
So you can't even imagine it.
Yep. 100%. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
That's a goal.
Yeah. Were there any
I
other
think that's a
lessons
great goal.
before we close out here? Anything
Anybody
anyone else wrote down?
Anybody in the chat have anything? Yeah, there you go. Don't lose your dinosaur. That's exactly right, Robbie. Anybody in the chat have anything they would say to their younger self if given the chance? See if
That's actually super important, Xenomorph. Or no, that was Robbie Q. But yeah, don't lose your dinosaur. Don't.
That's what we should have named.
Nope, I killed it. Oh man, I have nothing I would say. Nailed it.
Nope, killed it.
That's awesome.
Hey, that
Good job,
story
Jack.
does exist for some people.
It's true.
So, real quick on this, if we don't have anything, get off your societal timeline. Yeah, that's my biological clock is ticking. There's this little poem in here. Can't really see it, but I'll read it. But it's in this book. It says, "If all that I would want to do would be to sit and talk to you, ... would you listen?" That's it. It says Matthew McConaughey, age 12. I read that and I was like, a 12-year-old wrote that?
That's so insightful.
You know, and then you keep reading, and his mom put him in a poetry contest, and he worked on a poem all day. Came to his mom and said, "What do you think?" She goes, "Looks good, keep working." Goes back to the room, works on it all day, all night, comes back. "What do you think?" She says, "Nothing." She goes to a shelf, grabs a book of poems, puts it in front of him, says, "What do you think of this?" And it was that poem. And he was like, "I like it." She's like, "Okay, well, do you understand it?" She goes, and he goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Then it's yours." And he said, "Well, I didn't write it." And she's like, "Doesn't matter. You can read it and you understand it. It's yours."
Hmm.
And he's like, "Wait, so I should put my name after it too?" And she said, "Yeah, it's yours. So would you listen?" Matthew McConaughey, age 12. And he's like, the next line in the book says, "And I won the 6th grade poetry contest."
Even though it wasn't his writing.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's
Fantastic.
awesome.
It's a funny thing, and it's a good little ending point if you wanted.
Alex, what's the album of the week?
Oh, we got 7 Fields of Aphelion. Hold on. Keep the Ocean Inside. So since it's Women's History Month, I felt like I should do a female artist. She is a she's done a bunch of projects with like psychedelic groups like Black Moth Super Rainbow, Tobacco, but this is her solo stuff.
What was it called again?
The 7 Fields of Aphelion. Keep the ocean inside. She only has 2 albums, so it's pretty easy to find on Spotify. Really, really good ambient stuff, nature ambient, really good for relaxation, meditation, stuff like that.
It's nature, ambient, 70s glam metal, industrial.
It's like 70s roller disco mixed with like 80s synth. If you could just put yourself there, man.
Jesus.
You could put yourself. Oh my God.
Just trying to be as insufferable as possible. But no, yeah, check it out. Check it out. It's a good album.
Yes, exactly, Robbie Cube. I am sick of ring girls. This is a thing that needs to disappear in combat sports. It's not
ring girls
that should exist in this day and age. It should never exist. But just
that is
like
really strange that that's still around.
That comes straight from Meg, yeah.
As it should. We need to get rid of that. It's nonsense. And same thing with restaurants like Twin Peaks and Hooters. It's all garbage.
Yes.
None of that stuff should exist.
It ruins every
UFC. It ruins every UFC, for sure. But that's something they wouldn't have known, right? Maybe the women weren't interested until women started fighting. And then they turn on a UFC and they go, wait, you got a female champion and a female ring girl?
Right.
Yeah, why don't they have guys?
Into that box, right? Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Dude, Speaking of female champions, Amanda Nunes is a goddamn destroyer of worlds, dude.
Yeah, she's a monster. She's greatest. She's got to be at this point one of the greatest combat athletes of all time. Period.
Yeah, period. No. Yeah, Women's History Month. Anybody listening, go check out some Amanda Nunes this month.
Kick ass.
That's right. I'm with you. I'm with you for sure. Ring girl should not exist, and Amanda Nunes is the perfect standard bearer for Women's History Month. Go check out the Lioness,
dude.
And
right.
I expected
get inspired.
I expected Megan to give her some trouble, and she just swallowed her. Just
get her post-fight interview with her kid in her hands.
Yeah,
awesome.
right. For sure. Yeah, that's right. They just had a kid. For sure.
Yeah, check her out.
That's really cool.
Really good stuff.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Yeah, appreciate you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Have a good week. Let us know. What is it? No, what round is this? Yeah, it's true.
Right. They tell you on the screen at all times. It's part of the user interface. You don't need.
Right, there's only 3 rounds.
A card.
Right.
It's only 3 rounds. Like, oh man, I got lost there.
It's definitely for a specific generation.
Yeah, the live audience,
Yeah,
I know, and it's always, and then you got the drinking involved, and then it becomes that much more obvious.
For sure.
It becomes that much more
and then when you learn they get paid like $75 to do it, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like professional cheerleaders in the NFL too. Right, they were on poverty wages. Yeah. Nonsense.
Baseball innings.
John
Could you imagine?
It's for John.
It is for Johnson. Dude, Dad's so pissed right now. My kids are talking about getting rid of ring girls.
Yeah, he's gonna get in his car and start screaming.
They don't have it for baseball innings. That's hilarious.
So good.
It's true.
That is true.
You would need it too, because every time I've ever gone to a baseball game, I'm like, "What inning?"
Yeah, you never know what it is. Hey,
you could always just look on the board.
Exactly. Or have the mascot walk around with a card.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they could do. They could replace the ring girl with a UFC mascot.
That would be fun.
Yes.
Like every fighter has their own animal, or like centaur or something. That'd be sweet.
Every fighter? Good God.
Yeah. Have a lioness out there when Nunes is out. Perfect.
Yep.
My God. We have officially derailed.
Yep.
That's okay. It's the end of it.
What does it say about you if you really miss the ring girls? A lot of things, and it doesn't say a lot of good things about you. If you're watching Fighting for the Ring Girls, then
you're paying $75 for
this podcast. Isn't for you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the sign out.
Not for you,
especially for you. Actually,
that's the
you tune in every week and figure your stuff out because you're lost, my dude.
That's funny.
And I say my dude because it's not going to be a girl that misses the ring girls.
Yeah, no question. A giant Dana Whitehead walking around.
Oh my
That's
God!
it. That is it. That's
Make
it.
Dana White walk around with the car. Screw the
That
mask.
would be awesome.
Make Dana White do it.
That'd be
True.
cool.
True. Be good.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a good week.
Thank
Thank
Everyone
you.
who tuned in. Good
Yeah,
job,
everybody.
guys.
Appreciate you. Let us know on social media what you would tell your younger self.
Yep.
Later, y'all.
Take time for yourself. Have a good week. Have a nice weekend.
Drink some water.
Drink some water.
Healthy.
Breathe. Smile.
All right, guys.
Campaign against ring girls.
Later, y'all.